Jesus said, "Look to the living one as long as you live, lest you die and seek to see him and be unable to do so." The Gospel of Thomas, saying 59. These words have hung like a whisper through time, both warning and invitation. And in the quiet town of Willow Creek, one man was about to learn their meaning. Willow Creek was the kind of place where life moved gently. The grocery store still hand-wrote receipts. The barber knew every child's name. And at sunrise, mist rolled in like a soft blanket over the river that curled through town. At the corner of Main and Oak stood Ellie's Diner, where the smell of bacon and maple syrup greeted everyone who came through the door. And at the same booth, every morning at 8 a.m., sat Henry Talbot, a quiet man with silver hair, calloused hands, and eyes that carried too many yesterdays. He'd been coming there since his wife Margaret passed away. His seat faced the window that looked directly across the street, toward the old white church that once filled Willow Creek with hymns, laughter, and the sound of hope. Now it stood empty, its paint peeling, its bell tower silent. Henry's coffee grew cold most mornings. He wasn't waiting for the caffeine. He was waiting for something sacred to move again. And one spring day, Maya, a newcomer from Chicago, walked into the diner. She had kind eyes and the look of someone searching for peace. She noticed Henry staring through the glass and asked Ellie, "Why does he sit there every day?" And Ellie smiled sadly. "He says he's waiting for God to come back." Well, later that afternoon, Maya crossed the street to the church. The door creaked open, echoing through the hollow sanctuary. Dust floated in golden shafts of sunlight that pierced through the stained glass windows. She knelt in the back pew and whispered, "Lord, if you're still here, show him." Well, that night, Henry dreamt. He found himself walking a dirt road through a field of wheat glowing under the setting sun. The air was still, heavy with memory. Ahead of him, a man walked barefoot, calm, the kind of calm that radiated peace. And Henry called out, "Do I know you?" The man turned. His face was both familiar and eternal. "You once knew me," he said. "You walked with me, though you did not see." Henry's heart pounded. "Lord, is it really you?" The man smiled. "Do you remember the two men on the road to Emmaus? They wept because they thought I was gone. But when they broke bread, their eyes were opened. They saw that I had never left." Henry lowered his head. "I kept waiting to see you in that old church." Jesus looked toward the horizon. "You've been looking for me in what's died, but I am the living one. You'll never find me by staring through windows of the past. Look to me while you live, in the breath you still have, in the people still before you." Then Jesus reached out, placed a hand on Henry's shoulder, and said, "I am closer than the air you breathe." Henry woke with tears on his cheeks and warmth in his chest. Not the kind that fades, but the kind that burns quietly, like sunrise after a long night. The next morning, Henry didn't sit by the window. he crossed the street. Maya was there, dusting the altar, a small vase of wildflowers beside her. When she turned and saw him, her eyes widened. "You came." Henry smiled. I stopped looking through the glass. Together, they prayed. The morning sun spilled through the stained glass, covering the pews in colors that shimmered like living fire. And for the first time in years, the old church didn't feel empty. It breathed again, because two hearts had turned toward the living one. As Henry left that morning, he whispered to himself, "He was here all along, waiting for me to look up." Friends, Jesus' words are just as alive now as they were then. Look to the living one as long as you live. You see, faith isn't found in the ashes of what's gone. It's found in the light that still burns. And we find him not in memories, but in moments. In the kindness of a stranger, the strength of a prayer, the courage to open an old door. And when we stop searching among the dead things of yesterday and start seeing Christ in the living world around us, we discover that the miracle isn't far away. It's already here, in us, beside us, and within every heartbeat that still believes. That was a good story. God bless you, my friends.